You are being microwaved. This is going to be a little bit of a tech-heavy subject, but actually quite, hopefully I can put it into good words here. So, V2K, voice-to-skull technology, also by the U.S. Army, used to provide or send a private message, as they put it, without any communications equipment. Same microwave beam that your cell phone uses to communicate with the satellites, pointed at the templar region on your side of your head, interacts with the nerves of the brain, right? That's how the technology works. Very, very simple, been around for a very long time. Remember, the first people to experience this were actually accidental. They were soldiers during World War II, sailors, excuse me, cleaning radar equipment. Didn't properly shut the equipment down, went within the radar field, and could hear the voices of the other people on the ship, because what it had done is taken that, digitized the signal, and then transported it onto the nerves of the ear. And when that wave hit the head, the brain and the central nervous system processed it as hearing. Okay, very simple. I know it's hard to accept, and you may have never heard of it before. Some of you are experiencing it. And that's going to be a pretty challenging thing to go through. As the U.S. Army said, it would be psychologically devastating if someone that was unaware of the technology suddenly heard voices in their head. They should probably have come forward and talked about this a little bit. I don't really know what's going on there. Read the bioeffects of selective non-lethal weapons if you want to see their testing on this technology. The point of the video here is to talk about how that technology is delivered. Of course, a message is typed into a computer, and the computer turns it into an electronic signal and sends it to the personnel that is going to receive the message. Well, you can use this technology to make a deep fake of someone's voice, right? So if you have their voice on file, it doesn't necessarily have to be the computer's voice telling you to go to a certain waypoint or we'll extract you here if you're an Army or military personnel. The voice can be a deep fake of your own. And if you are unaware of the technology, that can be passed off as an original thought. Now, think of how that could be used, right? That original thought could be, as I've said in other videos, oh, I'd love a cheeseburger, or a shot of liquor would be great, right? So, as I've said before, foreign governments are doing this, using satellites to attack Americans. It's gone on way longer than it should have. We're now the CIA has confirmed that U.S. government employees on U.S. soil were attacked with this technology just recently, and their children, by the way. So clearly the people doing this have no problem attacking kids, innocent children. So, as I've said before, foreign governments, although it happened on U.S. soil, the same equipment is on every satellite. Same equipment can be used to deliver the same type of technology or private message, right? So if you can hide that message as someone's own thought, you can influence them without them even knowing it. You can influence them to make them want to think that they, want some food or want some liquor, anything that could hurt them, right? Because if you're an enemy of the United States, you want to hurt our citizens. What do? You want to kill them, but you can't just kill them because that'd be obvious. You want to cause their death without anybody knowing it. Understand? Every American has experienced this. They just didn't know it. Now, some people, unfortunately, end up in a category for reasons only the Russians or the Chinese know, where they've decided to actively, directively, overtly harass these people with this V2K voice-to-skull technology from satellites, threatening them. And again, it's if the person doesn't know the technology, they might think they're hearing voices. They might kill themselves or somebody else if they don't know any better. As the Army said, it would be psychologically devastating to someone if they did not know the technology existed and they suddenly heard voices in their head. Well, if someone is aware of the technology, and they're being harassed by it, well, they understand that there's a very good chance. Do you have any other symptoms? Are you mentally ill? Mentally illness is not just hearing voices. So you could sort of exclude a lot of things, right? If the person is otherwise healthy and happy and functional, then that's a red flag that might just be V2K from a satellite. Don't believe what I'm saying? Read all the links in the description. This is not my opinion. This is scientific fact. Decades old, verified scientific fact by people of all disciplines, medical and different scientists and militaries around the world. Everybody knows it. Now back to the way it could work. You can use it to influence people and harm them. You can also use it to influence their lives. If they see it as original thought, you could sort of steer them into a bad business decision. You could, make them, think like, oh, gee, I wonder if my spouse is faithful or something like that. You could sow doubt, fear, misinformation. You could run a psyops campaign, which militaries love to do, using private messages that they think are their own thoughts. You could derail their lives in multiple ways. And as I said before, every American has experienced this. Well, look around you in the United States. People are, unfortunately, overweight, sick with chronic illness. Now, just basic exposure to that beam causes fatigue, insomnia, anxiety, and depression comfortably. But there are more nuanced ways to use it to hurt people in ways that they didn't even know that they were being hurt. You understand what I'm saying? Look at all the things that have changed in our society. The marriage rate has come down. We are now a single majority. More people are single than married for the first time in history, recorded history in the US. What's the benefit of that? When you live together in a house, you are splitting your bills, you're sharing responsibilities. When you split up, all of a sudden, you have to pay more to live, right? You're paying the bills all by yourself. Anybody knows that. It's cheaper to live with a roommate, and if that roommate is your spouse, then you're saving money. So how do you weaken the entire United States? You split them up. You break up their marriages. You attack both spouses in subtle ways. You make them anxious. You make them, depressed. You make them tired. You make them fatigued. You make it harder for them to maintain their relationships. You can make them doubtful of others. You can make them think, like, oh, do I trust this person? Do I really like them? I'm sick of this person. That's not an original thought. It was V2K. You see, when you're talking about computers and AI is being used in business and industry. It's obviously being used by world military superpowers. Do you think that the KGB or the Chinese Communist Party would use their advanced military technology to try to harm the US? Of course they could. Imagine if they could do it without getting caught. They'd be doing it all day long. If it was invisible and not known and not recognized, and that's exactly what this is. I really don't know how else to say it. Use your imagination. But understand that your imagination may not even be yours. As Dr. Robin Duncan has put it, every American is being followed around with a pulsed microwave beam on their head at all times. The infrastructure is very simple. If 350 million people could use GPS at the same time in the United States, then 350 million people could be GPSed at the same time and followed with a satellite. It's the same idea. It's the same amount of infrastructure. And it's no more money. And given how big military budgets are around the world, it is not hard to accept that they've got plenty of cash on hand to do that sort of thing, especially if it benefits them. That is how V2K and the microwave auditory effect, which is the scientific name, can be used as a deep fake of someone's voice or inner monologue to influence their behavior, and probably not to their benefit if it's being done by someone that hates them. Sorry, but here we are. Thank you for watching.